2022 Mazda CX-50. Should you buy one over a CX-5 or other similar crossover SUVs? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. Mazda has long been known for making reliable, well-built cars that are stylish and sporty to drive. Over the past few years, though, the company has also been on the path towards making their cars more upscale and premium feeling too. And we can definitely see that with the company's latest crossover SUV, the CX-50. Even though the CX-50 is designed to compete with similar crossover SUVs like the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and the Subaru Forester, Mazda also designed it to compete with more luxurious SUVs like the Acura RDX and the Lexus NX2. So how exactly does the CX-50 compare to all these SUVs? And perhaps more importantly, how does it compare to its showroom cousin, the Mazda CX-5, and which one should you ultimately buy? Well, make sure to stick around until the end of the video because that's what we're going to find out. So looking at the design of the CX-50, it's not hard to confuse it with the CX-5 because the two SUVs do have a lot in common. The two SUVs use a very similar design language, which Mazda has been using for many years now. There are a few significant differences though when it comes to what these two SUVs are ultimately designed to do. The CX-5 is the smaller SUV of the two and does have a slightly softer, more rounded look. The CX-50 by comparison is the larger SUV of the two. It's longer, wider, and lower than the CX-5, and it also has a more adventurous, rugged look for more of an off-road feel. Both SUVs do have a very similar amount of ground clearance, and they both come standard with all-wheel drive, but the CX-50 does seem to have a more off-road oriented look thanks to all of that black body cladding and a more squared-off body. There is a more significant difference between them when it comes to the amount of interior space that you get, but more on that a little bit later in the video. Both the CX-5 and the CX-50 come standard with a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that's matched to a 6-speed automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive. This is the exact same drivetrain which Mazda has been using in most of their lineup for many years now, which is a very good thing when it comes to reliability because it has a very well-proven track record and you know exactly what you're getting. This engine produces 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque, which makes it pretty much on par with most of the mainstream SUVs like the RAV4 and the CR-V, which have a very similar amount of power. If you go for the higher trim model, however, you get a more powerful 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that gives you 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Now, like the CX-5, those are the official numbers just using regular gas, but if you use premium gas, you do get a little bit more horsepower and torque. But let's be realistic, with today's gas prices, the majority of owners are probably just going to stick with regular. Having said that, this 2.5-liter turbo is a very powerful engine. You can't get an engine anywhere near this powerful in the CR-V, the RAV4, or the Forester, which does give the CX-50 a pretty nice selling point. And not only do you get a lot of power with this turbo engine, but you also get a lot of towing capability as well, with a tow rating of up to 3,500 pounds. Now, having said that, the regular naturally aspirated engine does have a pretty decent towing capacity of up to 2,000 pounds too, which is a little bit more than most of its competitors. Even though it is nice having all of this extra power, there's nothing wrong with the base naturally aspirated engine either. I've sampled the base engine in the CX-5 many times before, and it's a very smooth and refined engine with more than enough power for daily use. It's definitely an upgrade over the engines that you get in the CR-V or the RAV4, which are a little bit noisy by comparison. And as mentioned, both engines come with a 6-speed automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive, which is really nice to see too. A lot of buyers are not crazy about the CVT transmissions that you find in most of the SUVs these days, so the fact that Mazda has stuck with a conventional 6-speed automatic is a really good thing when it comes to both performance and reliability too. When it comes to fuel economy though, the CX-50 is only average for an SUV of this type. It gets roughly 20 to 30 miles per gallon or 8 to 12 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, even though these numbers do compare pretty favorably with the gas engines that you find in most of its main rivals, the one major thing that's missing in the CX-50 at the moment is any kind of a hybrid option. Now, it is important to mention that Mazda does plan to introduce a hybrid option in the future. And when it does become available, it's going to be a Toyota-sourced hybrid system, probably a very similar one found in the RAV4 hybrid and the Venza, which would be an amazing thing to see because Toyota does make some of the very best hybrid systems on the market. Unfortunately though, it'll probably be a year or two before we see the hybrid option become available in the CX-50, which is a bit of a shame. So for the time being, if you are looking for a hybrid powered SUV, you will have to buy something else like the Toyota RAV4, the Honda CR-V, or even the Hyundai Tucson. For For those who are okay with a regular gas engine, however, the CX-50 is a great driving SUV, which is something that Mazda has long been extremely well known for. It has excellent handling and body control as you toss it around corners, and the ride quality is excellent as well. Mazda struck a very good compromise between everyday comfort and handling and performance, which is something that most of its competitors still don't get quite right. One feature that you do get in the CX-50 that you don't get in the CX-5 is Mazda's very first drive mode selector. Depending on the surface that you're driving on, you can choose between normal, sport, off-road, or even a tow mode depending on your needs. Now, even though it does sound like the CX-5 and CX-50 are pretty similar when it comes to the drivetrains and the performance, there are some pretty significant differences between them when it comes to the interior space. Now, not everything is different in here. Both SUVs share very similar switchgear and a very similar control setup with the infotainment system too. Although both SUVs have a very similar control setup with a rotary dial that's used to control the infotainment system, the CX-50 does have a larger 10.25-inch screen. And unlike the rest of the Mazda lineup, which doesn't get any kind of touchscreen capability, you can use the CX-50 screen as a touchscreen with CarPlay and Android Auto activated. Another really nice feature that you get with the CX-50 that's not available in any other Mazda model is a panoramic sunroof, which is really nice to have. It definitely makes the interior feel a lot more airy and open. What really stands out about the CX-50 to me, however, is how upscale and premium feeling this interior is. All of the materials and switchgear look and feel like extremely high quality, not unlike a lot of luxury SUVs. Before getting in the CX-50, I was driving the new Acura RDX, and even though that is a more expensive luxury SUV, there really isn't a significant difference between the interiors, which is really saying a lot about the CX-50. It's pretty clear that Mazda is trying to position the CX-50 in between the mainstream SUVs like the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4, and the more luxury SUVs like the Acura RDX and the Lexus NX, and I think that's a pretty good place to be. Now, to be fair, you do get much of the same feel when it comes to the interior of the CX-5, but like I mentioned, there is a pretty significant difference between the two, and it really comes down to the interior space. There's no question about it, the CX-50 is the more spacious interior of the two. The interior just feels a lot more airy and open, and there's a lot more room in both the front and rear seats for adults to sit comfortably. Now, the difference between the two isn't exactly huge, but it's enough to make the CX-50 feel like a much more comfortable SUV. You also get a lot more room with the CX-50 when it comes to the cargo space too. The cargo area is a lot deeper than the one in the CX-5 and is probably the most spacious one in the segment. Now, in terms of pricing, the CX-50 is a step above the CX-5. The pricing for the CX-50 ranges from between $28,000 to $43,000 US, or between $40,000 to $47,000 Canadian. The reason for the major price difference is because in Canada, the CX-50 only comes in the higher trims, unlike in the US where you can get more of a base model with less features. Now, the CX-50 is more expensive than the CX-5, but it still compares pretty favorably with the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4, especially in terms of the features that you get. The CX-50 really does offer great value, especially when you consider Mazda's reputation for reliability and resale value too. Like similar brands like Toyota and Lexus, Mazda has built a very strong reputation for making high-quality cars that are known to last a very long time with minimal repair costs. And even though the CX-50 is an all-new model, because it uses a lot of existing Mazda components which have been around for a very long time, you probably don't need to be concerned about early teething issues either. So, at the end of the day, the CX-50 is really shaping up to be one of the best crossover SUVs that you can buy for the money. When you look at everything that it offers, the performance, the high quality interior, the great driving experience, and the amazing value for money, it's a very difficult SUV to find fault with. And it's a significant step up from the CX-5, which for many was just a little bit too small for an SUV. If you always liked the CX-5 but just wanted something a little bit more bigger and spacious, then the CX-50 is going to feel just right. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that's really holding it back is the fact that you just can't buy it with a hybrid option. The fact is that more and more consumers are looking at fuel-efficient options, especially hybrids, in order to save money on gas, especially as gas prices continue to go up. And because the CX-50 lacks a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid option, at least for the moment, that gives it a huge disadvantage over its main rivals. As I mentioned earlier, Mazda does plan to introduce a hybrid option sourced from Toyota in the future, along with plug-in hybrid options too. So for those who don't plan to buy right away, you might want to wait for that. In the meantime, the CX-50 is a great choice for anybody who's okay with a regular gas engine option. And for anybody who's looking for that sweet spot between a regular affordable SUV and a more luxury SUV, it really is the one to go for. So let me know what you think of the 2022 Mazda CX-50. Would you buy one over a CX-5, a RAV4, a CR-V, or any other SUV? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other car videos by checking out these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure you check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.